My name is Shanaka Jayasundara. I'm a migration solution architect here at AWS. Over the last 5 years, I have helped number of enterprise customers during their cloud transformation journey. My teammate Ahilan with me, he will be covering the second session of the presentation. During the session today, we are going to discuss cloud migration and modernization, motivations, requirements and challenges, cloud foundation capabilities, migration acceleration program, and accelerators for foundation building. Last but not least, we are going to present a customer success story who has accelerated their cloud migration journey with a good cloud foundation. What do customers want on AWS to make a difference? They want to deliver product and services and innovate rapidly. And also they want to make sure it's secure and compliant. Business adopt cloud because they want to grow revenue organically. They want to have a better business insights, operate with efficiency, reduce risk by meeting security and governance goals. Cloud migration is not just migrating your workload from on-premises data centers to AWS. It represents significant business transformation. It is important to approach cloud migration as a comprehensive business transformation, considering all the business aspects such as people, process, technology, and overall business strategy. What we have done is we have created the framework consolidating all the experience that we have gathered migrating tens and thousands of customers into AWS. Migration acceleration program is a very good example for that. During a cloud transformation journey, you have to take lot of important decisions. As example, you need to decide how you are going to implement security, how you are going to implement cost management, what sort of migration strategy you are going to use, what sort of architecture you are going to implement, and what sort of services and tools you are going to use. It's really important to have a good cloud foundations in every cloud transformation journey. Otherwise, you won't get the full benefit of AWS cloud or achieve the desired business outcomes. Having a right foundation and a right approach, it enables you to have agility, increased velocity, reliability, efficiency, and risk management. Let's take a look at cloud foundation capabilities which enables you to have a good cloud foundation. AWS has defined 30 cloud foundation capabilities, span people, process, and technology. These cloud foundation capabilities can be further categorized into 6 areas: infrastructure, security, business continuity, finance, operation, and governance, risk management, and compliance. Let's take a look at typical customer migration journey. As you can see on the slide, there are 3 phases: assess, mobilize, migrate, and modernize. The main objective of the assess phase is to create a case for a change. At this stage, customer is not necessarily committed for cloud migration, but interested. In the mobilize phase, main objective is to planning and create the readiness. And also it provides an opportunity to create a foundation such as tooling, culture, process, and security. That will enable you to accelerate your cloud migration. During the migration and modernize stage, you will be migrating your resources and your data into the AWS. Post-migration, you will be continuously looking at improving your cloud foundation and your workload. Migration acceleration program is created aligned to these 3 phases of the customer migration journey. Let's take a look at work streams which you can find in the typical customer migration journey that will help to build the AWS cloud foundations. As you can see, in the assess phase, you can find migration readiness assessment. In the mobilize phase, discovery and planning, landing zone, operating model, and security and compliances. In a nutshell, what we are recommending is, before you migrate any workload into AWS, you get the foundations right. For any business transformation or any cloud transformation, assessment of the existing environment is key. If you look at assessment workstream, we can identify 2 activities: migration readiness assessment and discovery and planning. Let's have a quick look at the migration readiness assessment. Main objective of the migration readiness assessment is to identify technical and non-technical strengths and gaps with reference to AWS Cloud Adoption Framework. It's really important to identify gaps early as possible during the cloud transformation journey, because you can de-risk your cloud transformation journey by remediating those gaps during the mobilize phase. Migration readiness assessment will be delivered in 2 phases, starting with MRA pre-workshop via online portal. Then workshop with customer stakeholders. Let's take a look at discovery and planning. During the discovery, we will discover the source environment. We will identify the resource inventory, applications or workload running on the source environment, attributes of the applications, and interdependencies. Once you have identified the workload, during the planning session, you will be identifying what will be the migration strategy you are going to use. So you will be defining your wave plan based on your business strategy. To accelerate your discovery and planning, you can leverage AWS tools and also partner tools which will be available on AWS Marketplace. With that, I would like to invite Ahilan to continue with Cloud Foundation planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanaka. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AWS Summit. My name is Ahilan. I'm a partner solution architect covering migrations in ASEAN. Over the last 6 years, I've been helping customers build their cloud foundation to accelerate migrations to AWS. Now, having discovered your cloud foundation requirements, the next logical step is to plan the implementation of the cloud foundations through the mobilize work streams. There are 3 key mobilize work streams to help you plan your cloud foundation capabilities, which is the landing zone, the operating model, and the security and compliance. Now let's look at each of these work streams in details and share you some best practices. Now let's start with the AWS landing zone. The AWS landing zone is a configured, secure, scalable, multi-account AWS environment based on AWS best practices. You can think it as your virtual data center in the cloud where your applications will land. When designing the landing zone, there are 5 areas that you need to address: the account strategy, the network topology, the access controls, the security baseline, and last but not least, the automation. Now, a quick and easy way to deploy the landing zone is by employing the AWS Control Tower service. The AWS Control Tower service will provide you capability to automate deployment of a multi-account landing zone following AWS best practices. It also enforces security baselines, leveraging detective and preventive controls. It provides a built-in identity access management with centralized dashboard for monitoring and notification. It also automatically updates the underlying AWS services. The best part of the Control Tower, the service itself is free. It only incurs costs for underlying AWS services required by the Control Tower. Now, this is a reference architecture of the Control Tower deployment. The core accounts, which is the log archive account, the management account, and the audit account, will help you manage the security and governance of your AWS environment. The provision accounts is where you will employ your account strategy and deploy your workloads. Now, let's cover the security and compliance foundation. To build a secure and strong security and compliance foundation, you must first understand the AWS shared responsibility model. The AWS shared responsibility model illustrates the role of AWS and the customer in ensuring and maintaining AWS security and compliance. AWS is responsible for security of the cloud, where we manage the security of our physical data centers to our global infrastructure, right up to the software that empowers our services. You, the customer, on the other hand, will be responsible for the security in the cloud, where you will ensure the security of your network, services, operating systems, applications, platform, and data. AWS have 300+ security, compliance, and governance services and features that cover a wide range of security capabilities to help you stay secure in the cloud. Besides the shared responsibility model, there are 2 other key frameworks that you need to know: the AWS well-architected framework and the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework to build a secure cloud foundation. Now, the AWS well-architected framework has 6 pillars. It aims to help cloud architects build a secure, high-performing, resilient, and efficient infrastructure on AWS. It outlines 7 security design principles to help you protect your systems, data, and assets in the cloud. The AWS Cloud Adoption Framework, on the other hand, aims to help achieve accelerated path to cloud adoption by informing cross-functional stakeholders their roles and responsibilities in cloud transformation. The framework outlines 9 security capabilities to help you structure the selection and implementation of your controls for your business. So, how do you implement security at all layers? In 2021, AWS published the initial version of the AWS Security Reference Architecture, or SRA in short. AWS Security Reference Architecture is a holistic set of guidelines for deploying the full complement of AWS security services in a multi-account environment. It covers security at all layers. It protects the AWS organization, the AWS account, the AWS principals, the AWS resources, your network and content delivery, and also your application on AWS. Now, the AWS SRA includes a code repository example which can be deployed leveraging your customization for Control Tower. So if you use the Control Tower, you can leverage or deploy your SRA through the Control Tower. Now, another option to deploy the SRA is by leveraging the Landing Zone Accelerator, or LZA in short. The Landing Zone Accelerator leverages AWS Cloud Development Kit and AWS Cloud Formations, which builds out a core pipeline to automate and accelerate secure landing zone deployments. The LZA also supports deployment via the Control Tower. So when do you use the LZA, or the Landing Zone Accelerator? When you have complex compliance requirements, because the solution supports various industries package offerings for compliance. Now, what about your cloud operating model? Now, the first step is to build a cloud team. Their initial cloud team is also called the Cloud Foundation team. It needs to be a cross-functional team that is tasked to define and govern your AWS cloud adoption, migration, and operation processes. This initial team will empower the build of the Cloud Business Office and the Cloud Platform Engineering team through enablement. As more workloads flow to the cloud, the team will then form a granular function to support business needs. Now, once you build the cloud team, the next step is to define your cloud operating model. The cloud operating model needs to be defined from a people, process, and technology standpoint. The first step is to define the controls that will enable governance in the cloud. The second step is to define the provisioning of standardization so that you can achieve agility, innovation, and resilience in the cloud. And the last step is to define the operational insights through observability and compliance monitoring so that you can measure the availability, performance, speed, and safety of your cloud environment. Now, your cloud ops model should empower your business agility while staying secure through governance controls. The key to achieve that is to balance the automation through infrastructure as a code or offloading the operational management services to AWS management and governance services. Now, here's the Cloud Foundation capabilities for AWS operations mapped to the AWS governance and management services. It is important to apply tools or services to centrally manage your operating model of your entire IT platform. If you have existing tool sets that you want to build to AWS, you could possibly bring it through the AWS marketplace that has 70 categories totaling to more than 13,000 transactable listings of ISV products. Now, one key important step is don't forget to subscribe for the AWS support to ensure the right level of support and the continuous level of support in the cloud. Now, it's also important to know the operating model options that you have. Now, you can continue to self-manage in the cloud, leveraging AWS Managed and Governance Services, or you can use the Amazon Managed Service, AMS, which provides AWS infrastructure service level management to standardize change management processes. This is suitable for business owners who want to replace their current infrastructure operating model on-premise. And AMS is also suitable as an initial step while you ramp up your skills on AWS Cloud. Now, the next option is to leverage AWS Partner Managed or Managed Service Partners. Globally, we have 100+ managed service partners. These partners have undergone a certification program through a third-party audit, and they cover a full life cycle of services. Now, how can you accelerate foundation building on AWS? The AWS Migration Acceleration Program can help you here. The AWS Migration Acceleration Program has 6 key benefits. First, it has a proven migration methodology that had helped tens of thousands of enterprise customers adapt and migrate onto the platform. The program also provides you AWS and partner tooling to accelerate the phases and your cloud foundation building. The program also supplies a pool of AWS map-ready partners and migration competency partners to de-risk the migrations. Now, the program also provides AWS professional service to help you in niche areas and specialized areas of your cloud foundation building. The program also gives you AWS trainings so that you can ramp up your workforce on AWS. Last but not least, the program provides you AWS investments to help you offload the cloud migration bubble. Now, if you want to know more about the Migration Acceleration Program, please speak to your account managers, and they will also allow you to access the AWS partners that can help you build the cloud foundation. Now, let's talk about a customer success story. Now, GPSC, Global Power Synergy Public Company Limited, is a flagship provider of sustainable energy in Thailand. They aspire to be the top 3 power companies in Southeast Asia. As part of their expansion, they acquired Glow Energy in 2020. GPSC required IT operation and delivery optimization. They wanted to better their security, governance, and observability across all their IT platforms. They had a strict 7-month timeline to migrate in order to meet the Glow merger timelines. So what do we do? AWS Professional Service and AWS partner Delitech help GPSC build an AWS landing zone for their foundation, and they also help them enhance their security and observability through the foundation in the cloud. They also help GPSC leverage the AWS Migration Service, MGN, to migrate their legacy Windows 2003 workloads to the cloud. They didn't stop there. They trained the team on running enterprise operations on the cloud as well. As a result, they reduced the load times for Windows applications by up to 20 seconds. They also lowered the cost or the operation cost by 20 to 25%. They ensured data security and compliance. And last but not least, they met the expansion timelines. Now, we have nearly come to the end of our session. As recommended next steps, I will highly recommend you to review the Cloud Foundation Framework, plan your journey using the capabilities and scenarios explained in this session, review the AWS solution for Cloud Foundation, and last but not least, please reach out to us for additional information. Now, for continuous building on AWS and learning on AWS, please leverage the AWS Skill Builder program or the online trainings. There is 19 different languages that can support your learning needs. With that, I want to thank you for listening in and see you in the next session.